I need to have this conversation about what happened last night because the world is talking about this, and I'm certainly a little bit conflicted. So, Oscars, I'm watching it. It seemed like the world is watching it. It's like one of those rare times where your entire timeline is talking about the exact same thing. And now I just saw something here that the Academy is going to quiz. Yeah, what are they doing? What? Oh, breaking news. Yes. Thank you for that. See, that's a good producer right there. I just saw this courtesy of Jedi. Where is it? Yes. Per statement from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences issued on Monday afternoon. The Academy condemns the actions of Mr. Smith at last night's show. We've officially started a formal review around the incident and will explore further action and consequences in accordance with our bylaws, standards of conduct, and California law. First, let's just get this out of the way. New York Rick, work or shoot?
Shoot, for sure.
GC?
Yes, shoot. I agree with Rick here.
Shoot, by the way, means real. Work means, I don't know.
Yeah. She actually was banking on that being the case.
Frank?
Yeah, it's a shoot.
Okay. Now.
It's a shoot, brother.
What do you think, Rick? What do you think of it? Who's at fault? Who wins the round?
Nobody's at fault. I think people want somebody to like pin everything on. And I think the reality of life and just things in general is like there's a blame pie to go around. Everybody's to blame. Everybody's not to blame. Like it doesn't need to be this one person is the villain and everybody else is absolved. And I find that this is happening with the Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal situation. It's like, who's right, who's wrong? They're both right, they're both wrong. I feel similarly in this scenario.
But wait a second. Can we not agree on this? Like, comedy is about, cracking jokes. That's the role of that guy.
I agree with that.
Historically, that guy, the host, he was one of many last night, but like in that precise moment, is to basically make fun of everyone in attendance. That's historically the job, right? Ricky Gervais, Jimmy Kimmel, him, blah, blah, blah. As far as like wisecracks are concerned, one of the more tame ones, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like...
Did it really warrant walking up to him and freaking open hand?
I will say this. Look, you yourself have long talked about the hot button things, the third rails, right? Family is there.
Yes. Now, is it not different? And again, I'm working this out because I was very vocal about this last week about Jorge and Colby.
Family.
You don't talk about family. Now that's
as Vin Diesel would say.
Yes, that's fight promotion. This is comedy. Two totally different lanes, right? You can't.
I'm okay with with both of them understanding the consequences of what's happening here. Chris Rock knows that there are safer jokes to make. Yes, he could make a joke.
That was a really tame one.
There are safer ones. Yes.
Do you think
or there are even more offensive ones?
Do you think he knew about the condition?
That, I don't know. I think we have to hear from him.
So this comes out after people dig it up that his wife Jada Pinkett Smith.
Well, I think it's known. I knew.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought it was a cool look. I mean, I think she looks great. She has alopecia, which means like you can't grow hair.
Yeah.
Charlie Villanueva was the first guy I ever learned about alopecia. Remember him?
Yeah.
This before your time, GC. Charlie Villanueva,
NBA basketball player. I knew.
Did GC know who Charlie Villanueva was?
He did. Yeah.
Okay.
We actually talked about it pre-show. KG.
KG.
He got into a beef with.
Oh, right. Got it.
Before your time.
Yeah.
Before your time. All right, let's not just do this for every single thing that happens on the show from now on. Bringing it back here.
Okay.
I knew about this. I think her struggles with it and having talked about it has been public knowledge. When she first appeared with the shaved head, this is something that had been brought up. Either way, I think we need to know whether he knew or not. That will be for Chris Rock to decide. There are safer jokes. There are more offensive jokes. He's taking a risk in that scenario by making that specific joke. Whether it's a high risk, low risk, that's for him to suss out and whether he decides he wants to go with it. There are consequences for that. In this case, Will Smith decided that he was going to do something that hadn't been done in this setting before, as far as I know, and get up on stage and smack him. And I think Will Smith now has to live with the consequences. Him making the calculation, if Chris Rock now decides to press charges on me, if Chris Rock decides to come at me and attack me, there are consequences for these actions. And I think both of them decided that they can live with it, much like I've been talking about with Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. They have both decided that they will live with the consequences of their actions.
Seems like GC wanted to say something.
I'm just laughing. I'm just recounting everything from last night and just how insane it was. I don't really have like a strong opinion on who's at fault here. I mean, it was pure insanity. Like when it happened, then you get the Australian or like the international footage where you get to hear what he's saying, and then you're like, oh, this probably wasn't fake. And then it's like, where's Will Smith? Where's Will Smith? And then they're like, nominated for Best Actor, Will Smith and King Richard. And then they go to him and you're like, oh my God, now he's on the screen. And then he wins it. And like the way that Samuel L. Jackson delivered that he won, he's just like, Will Smith. Like the announcement, it was just like.
And then he's getting a standing ovation.
It was just like. Well, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just so insane for like an hour of television.
First of all,
is his performance worse because he did this? Well,
no. I mean, it's just a weird thing. He literally went out there and assaulted a man because of a joke. And then an hour later. Here's the thing about this whole situation. First of all, the Oscars have been somewhat irrelevant for a while. I mean, I would love to see if there's any type of metric of like, when this happened, and then like word starts to spread,
like
and if the
rating, a live stream,
and like the ratings spike, right? It must have been amazing.
I wasn't watching it before,
right? I wasn't either. And then
go ahead.
Yeah, wait, I just want to say this: in the world right now, there are a few actors that I would say are universally beloved. I feel like the Fresh Prince Will Smith, I know he's had his thing, he gets made fun of, the crying and all that. I feel like he's one of those guys that everyone loves, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Now I feel like it's in a weird spot where it's like, yeah, you're happy he finally got an Oscar. Like he's been in our lives for 30 plus, actually more than 30 years when you date back to his rapping career, then Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all that. Now it's like.
Chris Rock too. Chris Rock has been in our life for.
Chris Rock did nothing wrong.
He's been in.
Certainly not that.
He's been in our lives as long as I can remember. It's just like these are two like giant megastars like getting into this. That's what also made it so crazy. Like
who are also beloved, right?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
A lot of people don't like Chris Rock. I just feel like in that universe when you're making jokes like that, and especially that one being relatively tame, you don't deserve to get slapped. And by the way, the reason I scored it for Chris Rock was the dude stood there like a freaking champ.
He ate it.
Scored it.
He not only did he say, not only he transitioned, he moved on, he didn't make it about himself. He could have freaking tackled him.
Super pro move.
Yes.
100%. Super pro move. Chris Rock came off looking like aces.
What do you think is going on in his mind when that's happening?
Well, he also could have said he could have taken it a step further afterward. Like he could have started saying some real wild stuff.
Yes.
I think he did. I don't think he wanted another one of those. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants Will to turn around and come back. I think there was a moment there where if you freeze it after he got smacked, I think there's a moment where that fist got balled and he was thinking what to do. Look, I mean, if you're just standing there and somebody smacks you like that, no matter how cool you are, no matter how good under pressure you are, there's a moment where you think, okay, I'm about to fight or flight. You have that. But he was cool under pressure. Chris Rock's a pro. I thought he handled that like the best you could possibly handle that. I'll push back on I don't think Will Smith takes a huge PR hit here. I don't think he goes from universally beloved.
No, he's getting a lot of love for it. He's getting a lot of love.
But I don't think it will turn on him.
If it was 100%, it's now 75-25.
Here's what will happen. I disagree. Here's what will happen. Those two are going to make a movie together. They're going to sit down for an interview together. There's going to be this whole thing. Look, I shouldn't have said that about your wife. Yeah, man. I came up there and smacked you. You can tell how serious something is by the level of memes and like how funny the memes are. If this was truly heinous, the memes wouldn't be this good, and the memes wouldn't be this funny, and the memes wouldn't be this lighthearted. This will go away quickly. They're going to be doing a 1 hour interview together.
Quickly.
They're going to be doing a 1 hour interview together in less than a week. And then they're going to be doing a film
at the red table
together.
They're going to be at the red table?
Maybe at the red table.
Yeah, imagine that.
That's a bad place for Will Smith. Did you see the videos of him at the post parties with the Oscar dancing to his own song?
This is going away quick.
Get jiggy with it. I mean, I would have been uncomfortable watching him dance like that.
Yes. If I'm Chris Rock.
This is.
By the way, the reason I thought this was shout out to him for that. I mean, Chris Rock, the Leon Edwards of the Academy Awards.
For sure.
If I'm, like, it's like Will Smith, you just had your greatest moment ever, and he kind of ruined it. He ruined it.
I don't agree.
Well, he hadn't had the moment yet.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what's even.
You don't think they knew that? You don't think they know?
He wasn't celebrating like a guy who was too broken up about it.
Look at him in the acceptance speech. He's feeling emotional about it. He's feeling conflicted. He's feeling a certain way about what he did. All his references. The first thing he says is,
family stuff.
Yeah, he was a fierce defender of his family,
Yeah.
Richard
And then
Williams.
and then an hour later, he's drinking, champagne and throwing his trophy around. He's not too broken up about it. Again, I think everybody in that scenario is willing to live with the consequences there. That could have turned out differently if Chris Rock does something else. That could have turned out differently if Chris Rock presses charges. It still remains to be seen. Just because he's not pressing charges now doesn't mean he won't ultimately. But yeah, I think everybody was okay with the consequences there. I think there will be it's hard to call it a happy ending, but I think there will be a resolution here where it's like it becomes water under the bridge, and we might look back on this one and have it mean.
Well, I'm not saying that there's going to be like some sort of war that breaks out between, the Rock camp, but I can assure you this, and I want to get Frank's take on this. I feel like there's a lot of people. Chris Rock has a lot of friends, right? The Jerry Seinfelds of the world, all these like old
friends, yeah.
Yeah. And if I'm one of his like fraternity brothers, I'm like, yo, Will, man, come on, you can't act like that. Like, you're in comedy, you understand the way this works. We make fun of people. Isn't that the whole game here? Like, you can't do that. I feel like within that fraternity, he may have made a lot of enemies. He may have turned a lot of people off.
I don't buy that just because. Yeah, yes, I agree with you that he may have, but I don't buy that because you could say the same. You could excuse away the fight game stuff the same way. This is what we do in the fight game. We talk about people, this and that, and you're saying there are
not
still
a lot of people
third
talk
rails.
about family in the fight game.
I think.
Yeah, but so why is that different? He talked about his family in front of millions of people on television. Why is that different?
As if it hasn't happened before. I think this has a longer lasting impact than what he's saying.
It's happened before in the fight game too.
There is no way that Chris Rock is cool with what Will Smith did.
No.
There is absolutely no way. There's no way he's sitting down in a week for an interview to make it water under the bridge.
Oh, that will happen. Guaranteed.
In 1 week,
in a week, no way.
What
is probably like,
give me the odds. There's no shot.
What do you think, Frank? What do you think?
I'm just a firm believer that you can't control what happens, and you can't control how you feel about it, but you can control how you react to something. And I thought he reacted poorly.
Now, when you say he, do you mean
Will Smith?
Yes.
There's a million other things that he could have done, and if he was like a 20-something, fresh on the scene sort of thing, and he didn't know how to control his emotions from that, sure. And it just feels weird seeing somebody like that knows better go and take it into that.
Do you feel differently about Mr. Will Smith?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a veil. It's like, I realize the guy's an actor, so like whatever way that I thought of him positively, I was like, oh, I guess that was all a lie. Kind of like some other actors that have shown their true colors.
Lie. Everything was a lie.
He seemed like a lunatic up there.
A little bit, yes.
This is comedy is as flimsy a defense as this is the fight game. It can't work that way. It can't work that way. There have to be consequences.
Well, the weird thing is, I'm on the side of, in the fight game, you can't go there. But in this case, like I'm readily, because I know someone will say, how could you say this, but
I will say that. It can't.
I feel like they're two totally different things.
Why?
Because as GSP said, when you're fighting someone, when it's your opponent and they're using these things to rile you up, to get on your skin, to quote unquote self-fight, it's one thing as opposed to a guy whose actual job description is to be up there and make fun of all of you. Like, that's what they do. Historically, for the past 50 years of that role, it's like, I'm going to make fun of you. And by the way,
Nobody's
say
saying
1,000 times worse things.
I'm not advocating.
Not every fighter says things about your family. In fact, I would say 0.1% have ever brought family involved. That's why that was different and why this one was unwarranted. And by the way, just to repeat one more time, because I got a lot of crap for it, I never once said that Masvidal should have done what he did, right? It was very unfortunate and very ill-advised. Never should have done that. But I said I could understand why why it led him to go down that path. I don't understand why. I guess that's the best way that I could put it. I don't understand why Will Smith felt like that was an appropriate thing to do.
I understand it for the same reasons I understand Masvidal. Like,
you can't compare also the things that
consequences.
Covington said about Masvidal to what was said last night.
No, if
called him a deadbeat dad, said he doesn't pay his alimony.
Colby took it further, no doubt.
This guy made a joke. I mean, it's like someone making fun of my nose. It's an appearance.
Yeah. And what if they made fun of your wife's nose? What if they made fun of your wife's condition? How you feeling?
But we've seen that, like with
how you feeling?
Fighter and the Kid.
Are you feeling confident enough to go up in
this
front
falls
of the
apart.
Oscars?
This falls apart.
I'm actually feeling okay because first of all, I know Chris Rock.
Apart.
If I'm Will Smith, I know Chris Rock. I have some kind of relation. I saw a picture when they were all together.
Yeah, I'm sure they've crossed paths.
Yeah. There's pictures of them.
I mean, they were on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air together.
Was Rock on the Fresh Prince?
I think he was. Yeah.
People were posting pictures.
Okay, so they have a relationship. They have a relationship, right? I know
That's
there was
almost
some.
worse. I'll be honest.
He said G.I. Jane. He didn't say look.
Listen.
If he would have made a joke about like the infidelity stuff, okay, that's a little sensitive.
Well, Will Smith doesn't seem to mind that.
Gee, does
I understand the compulsion, but I'm not advocating that people should get up there and smack comedians. I think the idea, though, is that the comedians should understand the risks of that, especially when you're targeting a specific person. That is the reality.
Targeting?
I think Chris Rock.
He was up there making cracks about like a million different people.
Yeah, and they could have taken it personally too. One did. And
You know what's so crazy about the slap?
So I'm
It
not
was
taking a side.
it was so pronounced. It was like it seemed
great smack.
fake. It seemed like a pro wrestling slap where it was like so almost cartoonish. I had to watch it. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one.
I've watched
here's
it
the
like
thing.
80 times. Like I more have found it just everything about it was just so insane and entertaining. I don't really have like a side.
I'll agree with you here. Chris Rock was doing his job more than Colby Covington was doing his job.
Okay.
But
Do
I
you
would
agree
argue,
with this? Chris
I would
Rock
argue
did
that
nothing
both were-
wrong and in fact did everything right in the sense that this could have gone 1,000 times
that
worse.
100% he could have made this significantly worse, and instead he tried to diffuse the situation. He is a pro's pro. That is a man.
His stock is way up.
Yeah.
Will Smith's stock
Reaction-wise, you're saying
way down.
reaction-wise.
I don't think so.
he did
I
everything
don't
right.
think Smith's
Yeah,
stock is
reaction wise.
down.
No, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
the joke.
reaction-wise, of course.
Even the joke. His jaw. He's literally put in that position to make those jokes.
Yeah.
There's an understanding that role you're roasting the room.
Yes.
There's an understanding there.
And I feel like there used to be an understanding by the audience that, hey, I'm sitting here, I'm getting roasted.
We live in different times.
The greatest of all time. I mean, I
You
could.
about to say Don Rickles?
No. But I was going to say like the greatest actors of all time. I mean, no one, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I don't go around and asking people, but I feel like no one is safe from this type of jokes, right? Like everyone who sits there, from Meryl Streep to Kevin Costner to Jordan, I feel like they've all been roasted in those spots.
Yeah, that's kind of like the conceit, right? That like
Yeah.
nobody's safe. I'll say this though. Your point about like they seem to be friendly and have had a relationship, maybe that makes it worse in that scenario. Maybe he thought, look, you can make fun of me, but you're making fun of her condition, my wife. Like, again, there's no heroes and villains. That's what I keep coming back to. There's no heroes and villains here. There is no, this guy's the good guy, this guy's the bad guy, this, that, the other. People made choices. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. And Will Smith, I think, made a bad choice, but he made a choice, and he's willing to live with those consequences.
Wild. Chris Rock in Atlantic City this weekend. Go see him.
Oh my God. His career about to skyrocket once again.
Tickets are not cheap, yeah.
Great question here from Max on Twitter. The real question is, why did Will Smith go for a slap and not a fist/punch? Could have laid him out. I was curious about that. You think he had the presence of mind not to go for the punch?
I think it was a calculation. Again, like in the moment, deciding like, look, I'm not trying to.
The dude lost his mind in that moment.
Yeah, Will
No,
Smith.
what do you mean? I mean, he could have tackled him and tried to.
Oh, can
punch
you
him.
imagine that?
Yeah,
my
no,
gosh, it could've
that
got
was
so
that was a
crazy.
calculation.
So
He
crazy.
decided that he was going to teach him something, but he wasn't about to, make it worse than that.
Great idea here from Lewis. At the Academy, book Ariel Helwani to handle the Smith Rock face-to-face, as per New York Rick's suggestion. I don't know if you suggested that per se, but I mean, could you imagine that? Who would?
Jake Paul, $15 million apiece for him.
Yeah.
No, my suggestion that they're going to do content together. 100%, they are going to do this content together. No doubt.
Who do you think
No
would be
doubt.
the best moderator for that?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I feel like someone like Seinfeld. Sandler. No one gets mad around Sandler, right?
So, you're saying like
Yeah.
Like the
Him and-
third
him and
man.
Chris Rock are
like
boys.
a mutual connection though. You're
Yeah.
thinking like, who could it be? Sandler would be a funny one.
DJ Jazzy Jeff? I feel like he would be.
I don't know if he has the connection to Chris Rock. Either way, what a
Martin Lawrence,
wild
probably.
Martin Lawrence, yeah. What do you think, Frank? I mean, talk some sense into all of us. Good look, bad look?
I don't think it's the best look, but it did happen. So
I talked about it for 5 minutes this morning, and Frank was like, we're still
5
talking about
minutes.
this.
Wow. So Frank is totally not into the storyline. I was looking forward to this conversation the entire day.
This is
My
this
whole
is-
subway ride in, I was like, as soon as I get in.
Couldn't
Did you
wait.
guys see the Oscars last night?
No one.
I mean, this was water cooler talk.
How crazy was
At a
Twitter in that
preview.
moment, right?
I couldn't get off of it. The memes, how fast people were. It was so funny.
What about the fact that there was like the Japanese feed and then the Australian,
feed came out. I mean, it was just
That's how you get the uncensored. That's
It
how you
was
get the-
insanity.
Shout out to Wow Wow in Japan for giving us that.
Supreme Dreams dropped a video within hours of it happening. People are editing Joe Rogan into pictures.
See,
Jim Ross.
this is the lighthearted nature of this.
Yeah, but that's the internet having a blast. I can assure you, Chris Rock ain't laughing about this.
I assure you, the
no
FCC is
way.
probably being bombarded.
He's probably not
Yeah.
happy. I'll say that, but I
Yes,
think he'll
there's
get over
no
it
way
quickly.
he's happy.
And I don't think Will Smith. Listen, when Will Smith went to bed last night, dancing to whatever song it was or
Get jiggy
not,
with it.
yeah, he was like, "I screwed that up. I screwed that up.
No, I think I think especially if he was drinking last night, I think he woke up this morning and was like, I screwed that up.
I screwed that up. This should have been the highlight of my career. 30 years, the jokey guy finally got an Oscar. Big moment.
Jokey guy, yikes! All right,
No, like he was the
maybe
Fresh
Smith
Prince.
Slap you next.
Imagine, 1991. You think anyone predicts that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is getting an Oscar? No.
I
No
mean,
one's
if that's
predicting that.
around Independence Day time, then maybe.
No,
That's like
it's
94.
way before Independence Day.
Maybe, yeah, you're right. Emmys more than Oscar. I'll say this. Will Smith apologizes to Chris Rock. You think he accepts, or you think he says, "Nah, man, that was out of
Accepts.
line"?
I think he
Nah,
accepts.
he accepts him.
That says it all.
For sure.
That says,
No, because he's a mensch. It's class
that
act.
says it all. We'll be
Class
moving
act.
on. We'll be moving on from this. Can't wait for the
I
red
think
table
we
talk.
move on eventually. I do think we move on. I think we get an interview or like an Instagram post or something like that. I just don't think it happens in a week.
They're going to be in a movie together. That's my.
I think
that's
we
my
kind of
thought.
forget about it for a little bit. People stop talking about it, and then it's like, oh, Chris and Will back together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This will
Well,
never.
you said a guaranteed next week they're sitting down
Guaranteed.
for an interview.
It'll happen.
There's
This
no,
guy is
no,
an
too
app.
soon.
This
Too
is-
They'll
soon.
be on Jimmy. Who's booked on Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight? They'll be on Jimmy Kimmel
By the way,
Live.
that would be a
together.
good one. Howard Stern would be a good one.
It's going to happen. Honestly, your point was the best one.
Thank you.
Invite him on
Which
Red
one?
Table. Let's just do it.
Oh my God, that would be the
no.
worst one.
Will can't
No.
come back to the red
Do it.
table.
Invite him
cannot
on
Oh,
come
we
Red
back
got
to
Table.
the
Willow
red
there.
table.
They're all going to be ganging up on poor Chris.
No,
Nah, Chris will
can't
hold
go
his
back to
own.
the red table. Jada would be there too, huh?
I can't believe that a real like weak, off the cuff GI Jane joke would prompt that kind of reaction. By the way, there has to be way more to the story.
That's guaranteed. There's no way
Right?
it was
Yes,
just
it has
that.
to be.
There's
It
more
has
to
to
it.
be.
He's probably going through something, and that was it.
There was something behind that second.
Yeah.
Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. That
It
second
seemed
one
like there's
came from-
precedence. Like he's made comments about her in the past, so maybe this was a boiling point. But still, not the best way to handle it.
By the way, who's that girl in back of him? She was the real star of the whole situation.
Oh, Lupita.
Lupita. Who's Lupita? She's a singer. I know I'm exposing myself.
Wow, no, she's an actress. She's in what was it? Us.
I didn't see a single one of
she's
those
in a lot
movies.
of movies.
Coda. What is Coda? Never heard of
I
this.
haven't seen Coda.
Did you guys see the Richard Williams movie?
yeah, it was great,
No.
Didn't see it.
tremendous.
What won Best Picture? Coda?
No.
Oh.
Did it?
It
I
did.
don't remember.
Coda one.
I was so
Did you
enamored
see it,
with
Frank?
Twitter at the time.
No. I found out about it this morning.
Come on. You didn't even know when it was happening?
No, I mean about Coda.
Oh.
I was like, that's a movie.
Did you hear about the
I did as it was unfolding.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, what a time.
I mean, it
What a
has
time.
nothing on the Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake scandal. That was
That's your
something.
big one. Except the thing is, I don't
No,
think there
he's
was.
just like enamored with the Janet Jackson.
Everyone remembers that, but there wasn't. Was
He's
Twitter
like,
a thing?
FCC changed their rules. The FCC.
I don't think
Twitter wasn't a thing. That was
No, it was not.
2003.
Yeah, no, Twitter wasn't.
06 was Twitter.
Well,
There were
up
other
like
social
that.
networks though.
Not really.
Facebook.
Live
You on
Journal,
MySpace, live blogging.
Friendster.
Yeah, but it wasn't like this. This was
Yeah,
incredible.
No, Twitter makes things feel a lot.
So in the end, you scored for Will Smith.
I'm not scoring it for anybody. I think they're both winners and losers. And like
I can't
in all
believe
these
that
scenarios.
poor Chris Rock is a loser in this scenario.
I don't
I mean,
think
he
Chris
got
Rock is a
manhandled
loser.
on TV.
Oh,
by
in that
somebody
regard,
else.
I guess you could say in that regard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
can
yeah, he
definitely
got-
say that in that regard.
He got slapped.
His
He stood there with his hands behind his back.
I
By the
mean,
way, not a
he
sucker
ate-
punch.
he ate the
freaking
shot.
walked
No,
right up to him.
not a sucker punch. Look, yeah, I mean it's not great. Like there's pictures of Chris Rock all over the internet being slapped. I don't think that that's
Not a great
exactly
moment,
what he
yeah.
wants
No,
for himself.
There's no way. There's
You don't think it's better for his career now?
no.
You don't think there's a positive in all of this that comes
Yeah,
out
I
of it
think
for
there's
him?
a positive for sure.
Listen, that picture that they do together is going to be big box office.
I don't think he
Big
knew Will
box
Smith was going to slap him until Will Smith was slapping him. Like he's like laughing as he's like 2 feet away from him.
Oh my God.
And then like it happened.
I mean, they're both entertainers. They both like they're seizing a moment there. I don't think Chris Rock is thinking like I'm about to get slapped. He's thinking like, okay, let's see where this goes. He's
Jose,
he's a comedian. He's trying to capture this moment.
By the way, how awkward must it have been in the audience, right? Like when they went to commercial and stuff like that?
I think there's pictures of the faces of like the audience, and they're all like, some are like hand and
Like, oh my God. And the poor people who had to get awards immediately. I think Questlove was one, which was a big moment for him.
I think Questlove was right after. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Well, I just wanted to talk it out. You know, obviously there are similarities to the fight game. I do think that it's not as black and white. You shouldn't use family to promote a fight. But in comedy, unfortunately, that's kind of the way it goes. And in that case, like, it's not like Jada Pinkett. Here's the other thing that no one's saying. Jada Pinkett Smith, no, she is a public person. She's a very famous person. Masvidal's wife and kids aren't. So as a result, Jada Pinkett Smith is fair game in that moment. She's sitting there. What are you talking about?
These are such bad takes.
This is the best take. What are you saying?
So we can go in on Austin Vanderford's wife because she's a public person. Let's just.
Well, what does that? Wait. When you say go in, what does that mean?
Like you're saying fair game to
no, but
talk
again,
about her.
I'm saying family should not be talked about to sell a fight, to promote a fight. But in comedy,
no different.
like if Chris Rock would have said something, let's just say for the sake of this conversation,
it's at her
Will
expense
Smith's
regardless.
daughter has alopecia. She's not a famous person. She's a 10-year-old girl.
She's a famous person.
No, I'm just saying for the sake. I'm telling you, in this scenario, call Mr. X. George Clooney has a daughter with alopecia. She is not fair game. She's not famous. She's not a public person. But Jada Pinkett Smith is. She's sitting right there. So in that case, she could be Will Smith's wife, cousin, sister, person sitting next. That's the role of a Chris Rock in that position. He's making wisecracks. He's roasting people. That's literally his job. In the fight game, it is not the role of Masvidal's wife or Colby's wife or GSP's wife or Connor's wife to be talked about. They have nothing to do with the fight.
My argument isn't not to make the joke. My argument is live with the consequences.
I thought you were going to say make a better joke.
Well, that's certainly something. Make it a funny joke if you're going to get, because there's going to be consequences. I have no problem with what Chris Rock said, but I also have no problem with consequences for that.
So you're cool with people just walking up to comedians and smacking them.
I'm not.
Well, you just said the consequences. You're okay with it.
I can't believe we're talking about this. This is so crazy. Like I just can't believe
I'm
it
okay.
happened last night.
Oh, I thought you said you can't believe his
No,
takes.
I believe we're talking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
I don't agree. I don't agree that like in one realm or another it's okay. In fact, I'd argue in the fight game you can do something about it. That's the whole argument, right? Like in the fight game, if you make fun of somebody's family, you're going to be locked in a cage with them and able to fight, as opposed to making a joke about somebody. Typically, there wouldn't be an expectation that there would be something happening. Will Smith decided that he's going to make something happen, but actually in the fight game, you have a chance to make them pay for their words inside the cage. So I don't think one's any better than the other. I don't think in one it's fair or not fair. Every situation is different. It doesn't exist in a vacuum, but there are consequences for actions.
Frank, any final thoughts on this hot topic?
I think I'm over it.
All right, perfect.